Hey everyone, it's Jackson again for the Popcorn Review Podcast. Today's going to be my episode 21 for Dynamite 430. This episode started off with an all-star tag team match, apparently. You had a 4-on-4. You had Kenny Omega, Speedball, Kevin Knight, and Mark Briscoe versus the Young Bucks, Ricochet, and Okada. This match has had a lot of funny bits here and there. You know, you do have Kenny Omega feuding with Okada. So at some point, those guys are going to go at it. You have, as of right now, Ricochet kind of feuding with Kevin Knight. Mark Briscoe's just not sure where he fits in, honestly. He just kind of got attached to that. And then Speedball is technically Kevin Knight's tag team partner. So it made sense by putting them in there. Pretty crazy match, pretty explosive match. A lot of funny gimmicks or a lot of funny takes in this match. You did have at the end, you know, the Young Bucks crew kind of stole that one. But it was funny because they're really pushing that Ricochet's bald gimmick, even though he is bald. There's signs in there on the stand saying all bald, all instead of all elite wrestling is all bald wrestling. So it's pretty funny. At one point, you even had one of the Young Bucks smack him on top of his head, and then Kenny Omega did the same thing. So all in all, pretty good match, fun match, a lot of comedy driven. Um, the like I mentioned, the Young Bucks and them actually kind of squeaked that through. So they were able to win that match there. You did have the Ops versus kind of like some, I guess, local talent or some guys they're not using as of right now. So you knew it was going to be a squash match. They went in there, just pretty much beat them down. Um, Again, Hobbs looks powerful in this match. Joe's always funny in the match there. Um, Shibata, he doesn't speak very well English, so it's kind of hard sometimes for him to do things. But he is, I guess, a technical wrestler. Again, I haven't seen much from him. Um, they did win that match there against Squash Fest, and then out of nowhere, you see the Death Riders come in and attack him from behind again. Um, they at one point Joe did have Moxley kind of choking him out, and Moxley was like, "Go ahead, but your boy's in the ring; he's going to get hurt." So you did have Claudio there, kind of drop him the same way he did Hook, kind of drop him on the ladder or on the chair rather, and kind of took him out there. Then they kind of like ran out the back, got away from them. You did see that Joe was kind of pissed off, got on the top rope and said, "Hey, Mox, if you want me, I agree to it, but I want you in a cage match." So that is announced, cage match for Beach Break. Samoa Joe and John Moxley in a cage for the AEW World Title. That's going to be a good match. Hopefully, there's not a lot of run-ins. I definitely see it happening, but hopefully, a run-in doesn't cost this match for someone. Let's just have a good match in a cage, Carnage, old school. Let's get it going there. Definitely want to see that. But again, John Moxley and Samoa Joe in a cage. You did have Mercedes Monet show up for a while for a segment. She did say that she is looking forward to being in the finals. She's already looking past Jamie Hayter, saying that she's going to be in the finals. She's going to be the one to go against Tony Storm. She's already looking past her. So I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea, but she's definitely looking past her already. She's saying that she's the best. She's been undefeated since she's been in AEW, and that's why she's 4 belts Monet, and she's looking to add a 5th. So I did mention that it might make sense to have Mercedes Monet beat Tony Storm, kind of knock her a peg down. Tony Storm might be doing something, maybe a movie or something, and then you'll see Mercedes Monet have 5 belts and then possibly drop the TBS title for the younger guys or the younger girls to come up and try to do that. That would be nice to see, but we'll see the story that they have to play here, and we'll go from there. You did have the patriarchy have a segment there, and you saw Nick Wayne there with his belt, and there's definitely some tension between Nick Wayne and Christian Cage there. They're definitely gonna be bumping heads sometime in the future. But you did see Jay Lethal come up and say, "Hey, I want to wrestle the young guy. I'm not here to talk to you, Christian. I'm here to talk to him. If you're ready to wrestle, young buck," he was like, "Pretty much, let's go." And Nick Wayne doing the heel thing. Nah, I don't think I'm ready for that. I'm not. I'm in street clothes. I don't think I'm ready. I didn't prepare. And Christian Cage jumped in. He's like, no, he's a champ. He's ready for you. He's ready for you. So kind of pushing Nick Wayne under the bus there to force him to have a match. Um, so Nick Wayne did go in there, had a good match with Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's actually good in the ring. I remember when he impersonated Ric Flair years ago, so that's always funny to see Jay Lethal. Um, so it is funny to see him in there. He was actually good in a good match with him there. They were saying that Jay Lethal was the longest reigning Ring of Honor television champion. Then you had Nick Wayne, the youngest television champion for Ring of Honor. So that was actually nice to see. Pretty much one of the old heads wrestling the new guy, even though the new guy got the title. Um, you did have Nick Wayne win it, and Christian Cage is still upset. He doesn't have gold around his waist. He kind of snatches it from the referee. And for a while, you thought he was going to throw it on his shoulder, but then he, tells Nick Wayne to stand there, and he puts it around Nick Wayne's waist. So he kind of like, okay, okay, but he still had that hesitation, like he's not in it for me. There's definitely something there that he's going to want to take this title from me. So maybe in the future, that's what we'll see the patriarchy finally break apart. Nick Wayne goes with his mom, and then you see Christian Cage kind of disappear on his own. But we'll see how it plays out. Honestly, there's definitely going to be some type of feud with those individuals, so we'll see how that goes. Um, you did have a segment with the Hurt Syndicate in the ring again, celebrating. And they were like, "Hey, we're going to do this vote again. MJF, can you come out here?" MJF music comes out. They come out. You did have at one point though, you had them voting again. MVP goes, "Hey, you know where I stand. It's a yes for me." And Sheldon was like, "It's a yes for me." So you got two. Bobby again did his little tricks here. He's holding his thumb out. He's started no, and then he's coming back up. He's coming back up, and then he says no. And then pretty much for whatever reason, MJF keeps calling Bobby Lashley Bob. That is so disrespectful. So he keeps calling him Bob, and then finally he goes, "What do I need? What do you need for? What do you need me to do? What do you need me to do? I got you women. I got you cars." He goes, "I got you money." He goes, "What else do I need to prove to you that I belong in the Hurt Syndicate?" And Bobby Lashley just takes him by the throat, kind of puts him in the corner, and the camera's got a close up of him, an above shot, a side view, everything. And he goes, "If you want to impress me," he goes, "remember, we hurt people. Why don't you go out there and hurt somebody?" So and MJF's like, "All right, I got it, Bobby, I got it," and kind of leaves the ring there. So at some point, this might be the time that they actually get into it, MJF and Bobby Lashley, or MJF's gonna take somebody out in the back, and he's gonna win his praise with Bobby Lashley. Not sure on who he's gonna take out. Could be somebody sitting in catering. Could be somebody just sitting in the back, doing nothing, and he takes him out from there. Not sure who MJF has plans to take out, but we'll see how that goes from there. You did have Timeless Tony Storm in like an eliminator tournament. They keep having those every now and then. And I'm not sure if I'm gonna butcher her name, but it's like Mishu Yamashita. Hopefully I said that right. Um, had a good match. Tony Storm's hip attack in every match. I swear she's gonna take someone's head off every time she does it. It's like she gives those girls whiplash. She's got a big butt. Not trying to be funny, big hips. So every time she hits someone, it looks like she's kind of like taking their head clean off their shoulders. I'm sure at every now and then she really rocks those girls, but crazy hip attack like always. You did have they were saying that Tony Storm is 11-1 after winning this match, so she did end up winning the match. Um, Decent match between the two, just showing the AEW Women's champion strong. So Tony Storm was out there, kind of doing her thing, dancing at the end like she usually does. And then the CEO music hits, and Tony kind of like looks to the Titantron over there to the aisle. You have the CEO just kind of like staring her down or whatever, pretty much telling her she's calling her shot, that she's going to beat her again, dismissing Jamie Hayter altogether. And then out of nowhere, Jamie Hayter's music hits. You have her come out. She kind of stares down Mercedes Monet. She dips out, and you kind of had a stare down with Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm from the ring. And then, Jamie Hayter's music hits, and you have like kind of Tony Storm dancing to her music in the ring. Again, the way that Tony Storm acts sometimes, I don't know if this is true or not. I believe Tony Storm is I don't want to say this and be disrespectful. I think she's a lesbian, if I'm not mistaken. So she comes off kind of like flirty vibe with the girls. So that could be where like a lot of the way she talks comes off, because she's looking at the women, always saying that they got big juicy muscles, big juicy thighs and stuff like that. So she's definitely coming off with that vibe that she's interested in the girls. So it's always kind of nice to see Tony Storm's talk. It's always funny, like I mentioned in the past. She's always making me laugh with the things that she says. She's definitely said that like Chris Statlander has some great thighs. Same thing with Megan Bain. Megan Bain's really strong. She's got some juicy melons, she said. So she's always talking like that. I personally see this going with after the eliminated tournament, and you're gonna have Mercedes versus Jamie Hayter. I definitely feel like it's gonna be Mercedes Moné, even though I feel like Jamie Hayter can also be the one to dethrone her. I think they're playing that part that she's gonna win a fifth championship belt and have two belts in AEW, be two belts. I don't think a woman has won two titles in AEW back to back. Yeah, I don't even think Britt Baker has been. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think Britt Baker was even the TBS champion. Because Jade Cargill had it for a while. But yeah, I would say that Mercedes Moné would be the first woman to have a double title. They don't have women tag team titles, which I think they should. AEW should have that. Um, but we'll see. I definitely see Mercedes Moné being the one to dethrone Timeless Tony Storm. But Jamie Hayter could do it too. She kind of owes her one, because Tony Storm was the one who beat Jamie Hayter way back when, so she kind of owes her one. But either of those matches, I'll be happy to see. Um, Different style between them, to be honest with you, Jamie Hayter and Mercedes Moné. But whoever ends up fighting Tony Storm or wrestling Tony Storm for the championship will be a good match to see. Not sure how it's going to go, but I'm excited to see both of them, to be honest with you. You did have another match as well for the men's tournament. You did have Kyle Fletcher versus Hangman Adam Page. Now, this one is going to be the one to wrestle, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Will Ospreay. Yeah, it's going to be Will Ospreay. So these two there were wrestling each other to see who goes against Ospreay, and then the winner of them two would go against, as of right now, Moxley. But we'll see if Joe pulls that one off. Um, so I will say you had both these guys looking strong. They were both giving each other a lot of moves. Um, at one point, I think one of them got like kicked into the LED board or slammed to the LED board. Kyle Fletcher's back was pretty cut up towards his lower back, and then you had Hangman, like his top right shoulder, if I'm not mistaken, was also kind of cut up. So I'm not sure if they cut themselves on the LED board or if they cut themselves on maybe the steel steps, but they definitely cut themselves at one point. Once you see the refs put those black gloves on, it's because someone's bleeding. Um, Really good match, to be honest with you. Kyle Fletcher's been impressing me the past few months. A lot of people online are saying, why are they pushing this kid? I see great potential in him. Not sure what type of champion he'll be at one point. Again, there's a few titles that the guys can go for that technically doesn't have to be the world champion. They also have titles in Ring of Honor that I'm sure that they can jump back and forth. So could definitely see Kyle Fletcher at some point winning maybe the international championship or the crown championship, if I'm not mistaken. So there's a few titles there, or he could even be the TNT champion. He's got the, I would say AEW is definitely pushing him, even though he's a heel, but AEW is definitely pushing him. He did lose the match, so you are going to see Hangman Adam Page versus Ospreay, Will Ospreay. It would have been nice to see like a part two with Kyle Fletcher when they had that wrestling match in the cage, but it also makes sense to have Hangman. To be honest with you, as much as I like Hangman Adam Page, I think Will Ospreay is going to be the one to take that championship out. If it's John Moxley, I definitely see Will Ospreay winning it. If it's Samoa Joe, I would say it's still a possibility he could win it, but I would say if it's not Will Ospreay, I don't know who's going to take the title off of John Moxley. I don't think Joe's going to do it. It's going to be a great match to see Joe and Moxley in the cage. I don't think Joe's going to do it. It could be a build to have John Moxley wrestle Will Ospreay. I don't think they've wrestled, at least not in the States. So it's going to be nice to see that match. I don't think anyone's seen that before. But you will have, again, after this match, because Fletcher lost, you're going to have Will Ospreay versus Hangman Adam Page. That match is going to be amazing. So can't wait to see it. Guys, again, this is going to be my episode 21 here for AEW Dynamite on 4:30. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.